Welcome back, you guys. Talking with Glena Avila here about cage fighting, and wanted to go back to the Jana Piper fight again. And I want to ask you, I understand, that was really a heart-stopping fight for you because it went the full distance, and it was like a split decision.
Yes.
And what was that like? How did that feel?
Well, when I went into that fight, I went into the fight knowing that I was the underdog. And I had no formal training until about 6 weeks before that fight. So I took my first fight pretty cold, just with a little bit of wrestling I had growing up and training a little bit with my boyfriend, but nothing really formal. So 6 weeks before the Jana Piper fight, I started working stand-up. And I knew that she was a boxer.
And real quick, working stand-up, explain that. That's like not on the floor doing the wrestling stuff, you're
right.
stand-up fighting.
Stand-up fighting,
okay.
Right. And originally I was thinking, well, I'll just tackle her and get her on the ground. And when I started training at Rise Above MMA, which is, I'm just going to do a little plug here, it is the best gym in the Pacific Northwest, okay? So when I started training there, my coach said, you need a plan B. What if you don't get her to the ground? And I was like, I never thought about that. So we started working really hard on slipping the jab. Jana was known for her jab. It's very stiff. She puts a lot into it and causes a lot of damage just with the little jab that a lot of people use just to gauge distance. And we knew that from her already. So we slipped the jab, had a lot of counter combinations from the jab. And sure enough, what happened in the fight, I couldn't get her to the ground. Couldn't get her to the ground. Came back to my corner after the first round, and I had already had a dislocated jaw at that point. And I looked at my coach and I said, I can't get her to the ground. And he goes, take a deep breath. He goes, remember the slips, remember the combinations.
Were you starting to doubt yourself a little bit?
Well, at that point, no. He asked me if I wanted to quit because I told him I thought my jaw was broken.
Oh.
And because I didn't know. It didn't hurt or anything. It just felt unhinged on one side. And he said, do you want to quit? And I said, no, there's no quit in me. I said, just tell me what to do. And he said, remember the slips? Keep your hands up, keep your chin tucked. Remember the combinations? He's like, swing hard, swing fast, keep your hands coming back. And if you watch the video on YouTube, and you can get there just by Googling my name, you'll see where my hands get a little sloppy, and you can actually hear my coach yell, rubber bands. And what he means by that is bring your hand back fast. When you throw it out there, bring it back really fast. And as soon as he says that, I get back into that stance. So we got all the way through to the very third round, and the whole time just a stand-up war, banging back and forth, punch, 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 one after another. And we're standing there with the decision, and the first judge calls it for Jana. Second judge calls it for me. And we just are like in the standstill. We don't know who won. And then when the third judge called it for me, the whole auditorium just went crazy. And it was just completely surreal for me for that whole weekend. It didn't hit me until the next Monday when I was getting ready for work, and I opened my closet to get clothes, and there's my belt. And I literally sat at the edge of my bed and started crying. Like, I just couldn't believe it was real.
Well, and then you've gone on to actually be recognizable now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people, I understand, stop you or yell out your I don't know, what would be your stage name, but your, what do you call it?
Fight name.
Fight name.
Yeah.
So, and which is, you said, Heartless.
Yes.
So, and I think you get this question a lot, but are you heartless?
Only in the cage.
Only in the cage.
I'm actually a very loving person, but when I'm in the cage, it is a different persona that you have to put on. You're there for business. It's a competition. They're trying to take your head off. You got to do something. That's the way it works. And then afterwards, I'll help my opponent up, give him a big hug, say, good job. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again. So going forward with this, I mean, you're 35 years old.
Yes.
That's got to be sort of at the age where a lot of fighters would be considering retiring probably, and you're more or less just really getting going.
Right.
What's the plan there? Do you plan to go pro?
I do plan to go pro. Me and my coach talk about it quite often. There's a lot of pressure right now for me to do that. But once you go pro, you can't go back. And we really want to gauge how well I'm going to do on a national level. We already know that I've been able to maintain things in Oregon, Washington, Idaho. So our goal is to, hit the, Midwest, something like that. We'll see what girls will pop up from that area and give me some trouble.
So what is the biggest hurdle that stands in your way from right now to being able to go pro? Is it finances?
Well, yes. I mean, financially, it does wear on your pocketbooks to travel back and forth to Portland every day, and medical bills stack up and all that sort of thing. There's a lot of sacrifices involved.
Paying for trainers, gym memberships, all those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't look into getting sponsorships until they're pro, which I think is a big mistake. I think that asking for local support is an important thing, especially no matter how big I get. And they're already anticipating me going far. I want to stay local. I want to stay Glena from the Dalles, the small town girl. I don't want to go to, some bigger name place and just blend in.
So can you do that? Can you do that and stay here?
Yes,
you
absolutely,
can.
absolutely.
Okay. Who have you been approaching for sponsorships?
Just anyone in general that wants to get behind me. I have gone to Tussle Fight Gear. That's probably my biggest sponsor right now. He supplies me with all my clothing needs for every fight, and he's got the best line of clothing for women fighters, hands down. TussleFightGirl.com if anybody wants to look at it. Also, Restless Clothing sponsors me. Columbia Laser Skin Centers help me out at times, and that's local here, Hood River, the Dalles. Just looking for any kind of help. If anybody wants to put anything forward, I'd be happy to say their name. I get a lot of media attention. I get the microphone a lot, so I'll use it.
Yeah, and they allow you to do that.
Oh,
Plug.
absolutely.
That's great. Well, what's next? Do you have another fight lined up? Are you trying to line another fight up?
We are, actually, yeah. There's a possibility that I'll be on the coast at Chinook Winds Casino. It's another fight for the FCFF. We're looking for another title defense. They're kind of putting their feelers out to see what girls want to come out of the woodwork to fight me, but there is a strong possibility I'll be on that fight card November 6th. Also, my teammate Liz McCarthy will be fighting for a 105-pound title, so that's going to be an incredible fight too.
So is there a bit of you must have somewhat of a reputation where girls maybe don't really want to get in the ring with you, or the cage rather.
Right.
Is that been a little bit of a struggle in promoters finding somebody to fight you?
I think it's always a struggle for promoters to find fights for girls. And then it only gets more difficult the more credentials you get. So the more belts I have sitting on my dresser, the less the girls want to come out and fight me. So that's when we have to look at the girls that are at pro level and make that leap of faith.
So you can't fight somebody pro until you go pro, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, wish you the best of luck. Hopefully
you.
Everything just stays nice and intact and you get those sponsorships. And when you go pro, you have to come back and tell us what that world's like.
All right. And if anybody wants to look into sponsoring me, go to heartlessmma.com, contact Chris.
heartlessmma.com, contact Chris.
Yes, there's also links to my other sponsors.
Very good. All right. Well, there's some good YouTube stuff out there too.
Yes.
So people need to check that out. Well, hey, you guys, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Localite. John Compton here saying thanks again for watching. And remember, if you've got a guest idea, let us know. Just visit localite.com.